back at the end of this space. Welcome to our practice today. We will look a little bit into the transition that is very obvious down here, and that is moving into the warmer months of spring. Now, to begin our practice, we won't need anything really. As usual, if you like, you can have blankets and blocks nearby, but nothing used in particular. So I've got my little blanket folded at the head side of my mat, and you might place a little cushion there as well if you want to be more comfortable. Then we'll start, as so very often, lying down on our backs. As you come to lie down, you might let your arms fall a little away from your body. Bend your knees and place the feet down onto the ground. Take a note if you need little wiggles from side to side, and that might allow you just a light swaying here of your knees from side to side. Not quite a windscreen wiper movement, a little bit less, just finding your pelvis grounded there. You might then bring your right knee up towards the chest, give it a little squeeze in. And then open your knee out towards the shoulder. Maybe take one hand towards your ankle if it's within reach. The other one as you draw the knee down towards your shoulder with the foot drawn more towards the center of your pelvis. Then release that and step the foot back down onto the ground, hugging the left knee in towards the chest. If that feels right, draw your knee out towards the shoulder, and if within reach, take a hold of the ankle and pull the foot more towards center of pelvis, and then hug both in and down. Releasing then the left foot back onto the mat as well. Let your arms fall away from the body once more, and again allow a tiny little sway of your knees from side to side. Maybe you're feeling that you've already released parts of the body. As we open our knees now towards the sides, however, if this doesn't feel right, touching soles of the feet together and knees falling out, you can use extra cushions or blocks underneath the knees. And if that gets really uncomfortable, just simply come out. We'll rest in a reclined position for a little while. You might release your arms down. You might let the knees be heavy or rest over a support. You can choose to close your eyes if that's right. And acknowledging the flow of your breath. Acknowledging how this position feels for you. Although your position impacts how you're feeling overall, there's still a sense of knowing when you look a little bit deeper within, how are you feeling? Do you feel challenged when change comes? There are two seasons really that shine in the change that they bring. And one of them is spring. When the weather gets warmer, nature waking up again, starting to flower, bloom and shine. People getting more active too. But how does that sit within your own body? I took a card for us today. It's from the Namaste deck. It is the blessing of meditation. It says, a window of perception is cleansed, and for a moment you see life as it truly is, infinite and eternal. Meditation will help you rise above any situation and event and see things clearly. What usually seems chaotic and disorderly can seem the opposite. No, there is divine order in your life. So quite fitting for our theme as usual today. Maybe using your yoga practice as a meditation tool to facilitate for this change coming up. Allowing now your hands to help you to bring the knees back into center and land the feet back down onto the mat. Adjusting the pelvis so your spine feels easy on the ground again, and releasing your arms out wide once more. Repeating one of the movements as you gently let your knees sway from side to side. And maybe in this movement, you notice that from the hold of the previous shape, there is an impact. So change is happening within your body. The more we go along with the flow, and you might like to swing your knees out a little bit more and deepening the twisting. The creating change within our bodies by being observant and responding to our own needs. Centering your legs again. Placing your feet down at a comfortable hip distance and bringing the arms by the sides so the palms are touching the floor. We'll breathe in to flatten the spine and tilt the pelvis, and out to squeeze the bottom up into the air, in to lengthen the tailbone towards the knees, and out to slowly roll the spine back down onto the mat, dropping the back again into its neutral curve. On the inhale, tilt pelvis to flatten your spine down. On the out breath, squeeze your bottom to raise your hips up. On the inhale, draw the tail towards the knees. On the out breath, rolling your spine back down onto the mat. Allow the back to drop into its natural state. Last round. On the in-breath, tilting the pelvis, spine is flat on the floor. Breath out, squeezing the buttocks up for a bridge. You might hold this bridge while drawing your tail up towards your knees. If you feel comfortable here in the hold, your shoulders are happy, you might walk your shoulders under. It's okay not to interlace the hands if that's within reach. That's another option. And you might lengthen the arms down, or the tailbone is still drawing towards your knees. Taking another breath here. Then releasing potential interlaces and shoulders out from under. And on an out breath, very slowly releasing your hips back down to the ground. Bringing your right knee into the chest and give it a loving squeeze. Open your knee to the side, maybe catch your ankle again and bring the foot to center pelvis as you hug down towards you. Placing your right foot back down comfortably onto the mat, and the left knee hugs in towards the chest. Option to open the knee and take a hold of the ankle and pull the ankle to the center pelvis as you draw your leg inwards. Then releasing your left foot down to the ground. You can choose to just roll over onto your side if you feel you've got quite some energy this morning or need a wake-up call. Extending your legs out long is the other option. The arms coming close by the sides of the body, palms facing the body. On the in-breath, out-breath. Next inhale, lifting your body, maybe coming into a boat. Out-breath, lie back down. So in-breath, maybe lifting, maybe boat pose. Out-breath, lying back down. Last round here, breath in, lifting, and if you haven't lifted, maybe rolling to your side, and then finding a seated position. So in that seated position, I will seek a little bit of cushioning. You can use a block, but I find the block is oftentimes that little bit too high, as in the knees hanging through when we extend our legs. So potentially allowing more of a cushion or a folded blanket to be underneath. Extending both legs out to the sides. Are you in a stiff morning body? Maybe shuffle a little bit. I'm actually bending my knees, walking out the feet, and just trying to find a place across my sitting bones where I can actually stay as it is right now. Landing your fingertips down and deeply starting to flex through the ankles so the toes are pointed up towards the ceiling. We will place the right hand to the inside of the leg and let the left hand come in line with the leg behind our backs. And then starting to lean gently sideways. The body is still cold. You might rest your elbow upon the thigh and let the head sink into the hand. My other arm is just attached to the side body. If you like to change that, bring the hand into the side of the waist and actively draw the shoulder back. If you feel this shoulder is perfectly fine, you can also choose to extend this arm over the leg and the head. The palm of the hand would here be facing downwards. Using that support that you might have, and even if you're resting your head on your fingertips, and creating length in your side body by actively reaching across and over and tucking the other side sitting bone towards the floor. Breath in, reaching more. Breath out, raise the arm. Breath in, come back to a seated position, and out to place your fingertips again to the sides. Sit again, give the shoulders a little shrug back, maybe do that same walk out through the legs and sitting bones one more time. As you land again in your seat, actively flexing till the toes are turned upwards. Placing now the left hand to the inside of the leg, the right hand in a diagonal behind, starting to turn. And then slowly leaning towards the leg. As you might bend the elbow, it could be just the fingertips you're resting on, or the head lands in the hand. The other hand, if not comfortable resting by the side, place it into the side of the waist, keeping your shoulder back here. And if the side feels okay, you can also extend your arm over the head, palm facing down, keeping your shoulder back, using the support of your elbow, your fingertips, or your hands. And taking a few deeper breaths as you reach across. There's no fingertips to reach towards. Make it the side of the body that is reaching out long. Keeping yourself grounded through the opposite side, sitting bones. Deep breath in and out. Lifting your arm back up, rising to a seat. Hands resting by the sides as you find your center again. Relaxing your feet, maybe moving through the ankle joints, a few circles into your legs. And then bringing your legs out in front. You can stay seated on the blanket if you prefer. Other than that, your legs are coming out long in front. Flexing the feet again, you may bend your knees here. We'll do a few rowing movements. For the in-breath, reaching forward. On the out-breath, making fists of fire and rowing back as comfortably as you can. Inhaling, reaching forward. Exhaling, rowing back. Keep that flowing for a few more breaths. Each time you're leaning forward, knees may be soft. When you're rowing back, use deliberately all of your tummy muscles and let them gently draw inwards to support the back. One last round. As you return to sit, bring your fingertips back down and widen your legs back out. We will return to our side bend, but this time we will launch rockets. So to wake up our bodies, bring the right hand back to the inside of the leg. Your arm may come over the head or rest into your side as you lean to the side. We breathe in, out, breath, lifting up and changing sides. Breathing in, out, breath, lifting up and changing sides. Breathing in, out, breath, lifting up and changing sides. We'll do that a few more times. One last round. As you come back up, landing your hands down again, keeping your wide-legged seat. Bring the hands across to one side and start to lean down and try and sniff the floor by the side of your body. Then push into the mat. Change your hands to the other side and repeating here as you lean your nose down towards the floor. Pushing up. Changing sides, leaning down, everything can lift here. Push off the mat, come across, leaning back down. Push off the floor, and we'll repeat that a few more times. Just going side to side, there's a twist in there, and we're moving through all those lines that we need to stimulate to wake up our bodies, get them prepared for a change of season. As you push back into a seated position now, bending your knees and placing the soles of the feet together. You can now choose to take a hold of your ankles or pull the feet in a little bit wider and embrace your toes. Pull yourself a little bit up on whatever you're holding on to as you breathe in. The knees are becoming heavy. And with the out breath, you might sway a little. And that swaying could happen already in an upright seated position. If you feel this way inclined, you might also sway your body a little bit forward. Noticing any resistance is just there because there's tension in the body. You can move with it, you can flow with it, or you can decide to just simply round your back, let the head be heavy and sink in towards your feet. Maybe there's still a bit of tension on the inner thighs there that we could potentially let go of. And please don't feel obliged to stay still. Rocking is perfectly fine. Uncurling then through the spine and swinging the feet over to one side to come onto the hands and the knees. Placing the knees as usually at about hip distance apart. Spreading your hands out so you can ground through the palms and lean a little bit forward and away from your wrists. Bring some space in between your upper back and push down through the shins and the tops of the feet. We'll begin with the cat and cow by softening the elbows, letting the tail lift and the gaze come up. And with an out breath, either through nose or mouth, steeply rounding the spine. On the inhale, let your elbows bend a little, the tail, the gaze are lifting. On the out breath, to round and straighten the arms. Let's do that for 3 more breaths. When you completed your breaths and rounds, hold round it, tucking your toes under and reaching your bottom down towards the heels. If it's not bearable for you to sit on the heels, you may stand on your knees as you roll yourself up to sit back, or as mentioned, stand on the knees. It is uncomfortable to have all the toes tucked under, yet our feet will shine again once it is warm outside and might thank us for the stretch just now. If it feels right for you, swing the arms behind, interlace the hands here, and start to lengthen the arms down the back while squeezing your shoulder blades. You might even lift the arms away from the back. Begin to lift your heart, and if your neck is okay, you might even open the throat. Take a breath in. On the out breath, release. Let the hands fall down and slide forward, lifting your tucked under toes off the ground and maybe tapping the tops of the feet down a few times. Then ground again through the tops of the feet, the shins and the hands. And we'll start a little resistance movement. As you push your hands forward, try and resist in the body, but allow it to rock back just a little. And then pull the hands in towards your knees, and again resisting but rocking a little bit forward. And then keep doing so. You can direct the breath as you like, but please breathe each time you're pulling and pushing. Whether you do so breathing in to push back or out, that's up to you and how that feels to you. Keep using your full hands rather than the wrists, pulling and pushing and micro rocking the body forward and back. Then find back into center. Lifting your right leg up behind you. Keep the same strength in your arms. I know we oftentimes collapse into one. With the exhale now, draw your knee in towards the nose. With the inhale, extending back out and lengthen forward with the crown. With the exhale, bring the knee to the opposite elbow. With the inhale, extending the leg back. And out breath, taking the knee to the same side elbow. And you might swing or land your foot there, either outside or behind the hand. So we've got about a hip distance stance there. When you look at your front leg, it's currently the knee is above the ankle joint. Wiggle it a little bit further forward and then start to lean a little bit forward. Drawing back with the right side of the hip as you launch your hips towards the front. Taking a few deeper breaths here. If you find this is too low for you, keep drawing right side gently back. Place hands or forearms upon the thigh and keep leaning into your horse rider pose or Ashvasanchalanasana. All these actions are optional, so if it's within your reach, bring the hands down, framing the front foot. We're reversing the stretch by leaning the hips back. I will slide my hands back a little bit too, and then move into a flointing of the foot by pressing out through the ball of the foot. Sole of the foot is off the mat, hips are aligned, and you might choose to lower your nose towards the knee, maybe even ground the hands down for better support. So your bottom is flowing in the air. This is half Hanumanasana, and there's a push forward into the ball of the foot. Option to maintain a hold in either of those two, or begin to flow them as you lean forward, breathing in. As you lean back, sole of the foot lifting, breathing out, nose towards the knee. And you might repeat that for a little while, coming into a rhythm. The out breath is to come to half Hanuman. The in breath is for the lunge. One last round. As you might choose to hold here in the half Hanuman, or slide the heel forward and work towards full Hanumanasana. We will release this shape by bringing the foot back in. You can cheat here just like myself. And then rounding the spine, sitting back for a child's pose. You could widen your knees out here to create a deeper forward leaning, but you could still sway a little bit from side to facilitate for your own body. If you do come to center, take a full deep breath in and out. Then release the hands back to the mat. Lift your hips back up and draw the knees back underneath the hips. Hands will come back down to the mat at about shoulder distance apart. We create the same stability as we lean into the hands away from the wrists, the tops of the feet and the shins. Then extending your left leg back on a breath in. On a breath out, draw the knee into the chest. On the inhale, extending again. Exhaling, knee to the opposite elbow. Inhaling to extend again. Exhale, bring the knee to the outside of the elbow. And you can land the foot there or bring it towards the center a little bit more. So you've got about hip distance stands apart. I will wiggle my foot a little bit further forward. So once we lean towards the front, the knee is still resting over the ankle joint here. You can stay here on your fingertips or fists, but lightly drawing here the left side of the hip back. So I hope you can feel the difference there, not only in the stretch, but in the joints. And you can choose to stay here quite low, or if it felt good, maybe lifting the arms up or the hands to the thigh. Keep engaging into the pelvic area to keep balance there, but leaning forward to create a stretch across the hip flexors. Release the hands back down to the mat. And we'll move the body backwards, including the hands. Slide them a little bit back for better support. Raise the sole of the foot off the ground and push forward into the ball of the foot, while at the same time lowering your nose towards the knee. Keep moving out from the ball of the foot. It does help with an active stretch, allowing the engagement around the front leg, as well as creating a forward bend. And maybe you're feeling the stretch behind the leg. If you prefer, please stay here or start as you breathe in to lean forwards and out to return to half Hanuman. If the movement suits you, start rocking forward on your in-breath and back to the half monkey god on the out-breath. Let that flow with your breath again. Can be gentle or big movements. Go for one more round after your current one. We'll meet in a hold in the half Hanuman. And please feel free to stay here. This is sufficient. If you like, you can slide the heel out towards the front and work towards full Hanumanasana or the splits. As usual, when we're creating change, there is resistance. So could there be in this shape? To return, you can slide the foot in or outward. As you land the knee back down, you might briefly tuck your toes back under. Set your buttocks towards the heels. If this is enough, you might even stay low this time. If you like, you can bring the hands upon the thighs and come to sit on your tucked under toes or stand on your knees. We'll take the arms back around the back, and as you interlace the fingers here, changing the finger on top and drawing the arms down the back, squeezing the shoulder blades, start to lift from your heart. An option to lift the chin, guiding the head back if the neck is okay. Taking a deep breath. And with the out breath, releasing the arms down. The hands are sliding forward. As you release, lifting the toes, tapping the tops of the feet a few times. And as you sit back again towards the heels, opening your knees out wide once more, leaning forward towards a frog pose. So you might choose to wiggle again a little bit from side to side. If you find this is okay to hold here, you might release the big toes from each other and point them outwards. I have now to rely a little bit more onto my forearms and snuggle them in, as the hips could be encouraged back and down. We're getting a little bit deeper stretch in the frog than in the downward facing hero. The frog is the toes turned outwards. Let's stay in our stretch for 2 more breaths. Then bring yourself into center, big toes coming together, hands to the ground, knees coming back together. Take an inhale as you lift your heart into a light back bend, and now press to slide the hands forward. An inhale to rise onto the hands and the knees. You may tuck toes under, lift the knees if that's suitable, downward facing dog. And you might walk and swing out this down dog. If down dog isn't yours, maybe swinging out a cat. And starting to walk the feet now towards the front side of the mat, where you end in a standing forward bend, and uncurling the spine very slowly on your out breath. Raise your arms and open them up as if you're welcoming the sunshine, and then capture some of that and draw it down towards your heart center. As we come to stand, turn around to face the long side of the mat. Again, we stand similar to last week on one side of the mat, having potentially the left leg facing the longer side of the mat. We will take a breath in to peel the left heel off the ground. This is enough, or you may lift the knee. Turning the knee open and taking a little step. As you straighten your legs, turn the back heel out towards the back corner of the mat and take a breath in to lengthen your arms out. Turn the palms into the open space. Press down into the ball of the front foot, and while you breathe out, finding a triangle. If your arm doesn't want to lift, bring it into the side of the waist. Use the inside of your leg and the back of your hand to turn you and create length in your side body. Triangle pose. As you take your next inhale, bend into the front knee, and then reversing a triangle as you straighten the leg. Let the other arm reach up or come to the waist, and stretching to the back end of your triangle. Bringing a bend into the knee, let your arm roll in. Turn your toes forward and reach your arms back out to the sides. Shifting the weight to the left foot, dragging the right foot in and lifting the leg, pointing the toes for a star pose. Smiling is essential. Big toes can touch the ground. Step the foot by the side of the other. Take a deep breath in to raise the arms as if you were to capture the sun. And then take the sun down into your heart center again as you breathe out. Take a deep full breath, just simply standing in your mountain pose. As you next lift, peeling the right heel off the ground, opening the knee or even lifting the foot, taking a step out to the side as you land the foot down, grounding through the ball of the foot. The back heel is turned backwards a little. Let's extend the arms out, taking a deep breath in, turning the hands to face to the open side. On and out, breath, start to lean towards the center of your mat. Maybe your arms are open, maybe top hand is in the side of the waist. As you encourage your back of the hand to the inside of the leg to keep your top shoulder back. Both knees are out of the lock. You feel length in your side body. Taking a deep breath. With the next inhale, take a bend into the front knee for reverse triangle. Straighten the leg. Hand can be in the side or extend over the head as you lean to the back of the posture. The same here when I say leaning, the body's still active, as if the feet wanted to lift you towards the sky. Let's take a breath to lift the arms back up, turning the toes to face inwards. As we start to take a shift to the back end of the mat, lifting the toes off if that suits, and starting to open the arms back into a star pose. Landing the feet next to the other. Take a breath in and open and reach for the sun. With the out breath, draw the hands back down into heart center. Turning towards the short front edge of the mat. Reaching back up as you open, breathing in. Drawing the hands then down the midline as you breathe out, retreating towards a forward fold. For the in-breath, lengthening the spine, forward half lift. For the out-breath, stepping the right foot down the mat. Place the knee down onto the ground, leaning forward, Ashwasantanasana. And leaning back, Ardha Hanumanasana. As you land your foot back to the ground, let the hands land by the side of it. Step the knee back and find a kneeling or a full plank position. Breathe in. Breathe out. Keep your elbows by your sides and lower onto the mat. Grounding through the tops of the feet, lift up through the head, the chest, maybe your hands. And a squeeze down into the right side as you breathe out. And inhale to come to center. And exhale to squeeze down the left side. And we'll repeat that twice more to each. When you come to the center after your rounds, place the hands down and let your forehead come to rest. With the inhale, come up onto your hands and knees. You may as well stay here or draw toes under and come to downward facing dog. Walking the feet towards the front side of the mat. On the inhale, find a half lift. Breathe out to bow down and stay here while you inhale. Leave knees soft and uncurled to stand, breathing out. Reach and open yourself up for the sun, breathing in. And capture it in your heart, breathing out. For the inhale, lifting again. On the exhale, folding forward. On the inhale, bring length to your spine. On the out breath, stepping your left leg down the mat. Ground the knee, untuck the toes. Lean gently forward for your kneeling lunge. Then rock it back to half Hanuman pose. Leaning forward again as you plant your hands down, same choice. Kneeling or full plank position. Breath out as we lower down onto the mat. The same choices here, tops of the feet pressing down. You can lift your head, chest and hands. Or if you feel that's within you, you might place both hands lightly behind the head, elbows bent. We're lifting up through the upper body with the out breath squeezing down the right side. Inhaling center, exhaling to the left. And again, you might choose to do that twice more to each side. You can rest earlier if you need to. When you do come to the center, let the hands rest down, the forehead come back down. Take a breath to rise up onto your hands and knees, and you can choose to sit back, puppy pose, or lift the knees for a last downward facing dog if that suits you. Movement is fine as usual. Then take a breath in and let knees come back down to the mat. Sit your buttocks down towards the heels as you're breathing out. And then slowly walk the hands in upon the thighs and come to sit with your legs coming out the front. I will take my blanket again and put that once more underneath my buttocks. Lengthening both legs out and finding them out wide. Placing the fingertips down by the sides. Starting to actively flex the feet and lengthen to an upright seated position. We'll bring the right hand back to the inside of the leg, the left hand behind. You might repeat in the same way of leaning into your elbow. However, if you find it more interesting to keep the arm on the inside of the leg and lean to your side, you can do the same here, hand in the side of the waist or arm extended over the head. If you're using your arm on the inside of the leg, create a bit of pressure between the two, or rest comfortably into your fingers or the hand, your choice. Keep the flexion in your feet. Find some length in the side body, maybe coming slightly in and out, micro movement. Then lifting your arm again or the torso. As you turn to the other side, placing left hand to inside of leg, right hand behind. Keep the resistance and strength in your legs and start to lean in. Either keep the arm on the inside or bend the elbow, resting your hand down. You can choose to keep the other hand in the side of the waist with your shoulder back, or shoulder is back and arm is extended over the body in the head. If you're holding your arm on the inside of the leg, create resistance here, leg and arm moving into each other. Next in-breath, lifting back out, and out breath to come to a seat. Folding your legs back in, and maybe upping your support a little. So I'll fold the blanket one more time and come to sit in a comfortable position. Before we come into Shavasana, I would like to practice Nadi Shodhana, or alternate nostril breathing. If that isn't yours because one of the nostrils is blocked or it makes you feel awkward, you can visualize that technique. It's not necessary to hold onto the nostrils. If you do want to come with me, just making sure that your spine is upright and long. And I will use my right hand's thumb and ring finger to rest against the outer sides of the nostrils. And I will also rest my index and middle finger in the eyebrow center. The little finger easily folds in. You can choose your own hand position here, alternatively, and you might rest the palm of your other hand underneath the elbow. Making sure that the head is upright as you support yourself here. Then close your right nostril and take a breath in through the left. Open the left, closing. Open the right, closing the left, exhaling right side. Inhaling right nostril. Open left, close right, and exhale through the left. That was one cycle, starting again, inhaling left. Exhaling right. Inhaling right, exhaling left. Continue like this, deep, slow breaths. Don't worry about me talking, following a pace of a slow, deep breath that you might have. Each time you come to the left, it counts as one cycle, and you inhale again to start another. But you might just simply concentrate on alternating your nostrils. Each time you're alternating, you're creating change. You're working with one of the two major channels. The other one is the center channel, using left and right sides to combine, to harmonize. Completing your next round when you've exhaled through the left nostril. Keep eyes closed if they are. Rest the hands down and take a note of yourself. With the least disturbance you might be able to have, lower yourself into Shavasana. If you want to grab your blanket with you, that's fine. Just doing as little as is possible to lie down in your resting pose. If you want support under the knees, you can have that. You can choose your legs out long and rolling apart, or you can choose to have feet at edges of mat and knees rolling inward. Simply choosing a supportive posture for your body so you can let go of the body sustaining itself. As you come to rest there, let yourself observe the breath slowing down, finding its pace again. That pace that we have in our breath when we let it be. While you're letting go and you're coming back to the importance of meditation and mindfulness in the facilitation of change. Keeping your breath flowing slowly through the nose, but let it exit the mouth so that your jaw is completely relaxed. Breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth if that is comfortable. If not, that's fine too, and you can continue a nostril breathing. And then bring to mind any thoughts, ideas or beliefs that you have become stagnant, non-serving, or irrelevant. Aware of them, look at one by one, or all at once. See if you can connect to what their original purpose was. Do these thoughts have a reason for still existing? Is there something further to explore? Or is the energy ready to be dissolved and returned to its purest form? When you come to the realization that it's time to let go of mind clutter, much in the same way you would give away any old jacket that you never wear anymore. Thank it for having served its purpose, and take in any learning or wisdom it has to impart. Next, imagine seeing it dissolve like a morning layer of fog as the sun shines through. Or visualize erasing it from a chalkboard to reveal a fresh, clean slate. Once you've cleared away that which no longer needs to occupy your mind, spend some time connecting to the open space you have created in your internal world. The space that you've cultivated doesn't mean the mind is now empty. Rather, see it as being filled with the element of space, which represents pure potentiality. Next, invite a new thought or belief in the form of an intention for something you would like to manifest in these coming days, weeks, or months. Perhaps there's an old idea that you want to stake off the shelf, dust off a bit, and revisit. Maybe it's finally writing that article or starting the project that's been in the back of your mind for years. Bring your intention to the forefront of your mind and imagine planting it like a seed in the fertile soul, your soul, and then ask the universe to orchestrate the mechanics for its fulfillment on your behalf. Then let go of the intention, trusting that the universe will work out the details. Bring attention back to the breath. Slow, deep breath. Any way you look at it, spring cleaning is a great time to clear out anything that is no longer serving you, so you can make way for new ideas, perspectives, intentions, and desires. As your breaths might deepen a little bit more, begin to move your body again as if you're freshly awakening into this day. And however you might come to it, join me in a seated position. When you're ready, you could roll over your side or you could choose to sit up over the front of your body. Even if the sun isn't shining where you are right now, take a deep breath and open your arms up and invite this light. Then draw the hands together and capture it down in your heart. You might close your eyes and give the shoulders a gentle shrug back. As we complete our practice with 3 chants of Om, the universal sound, let's breathe in together to start. Ah. Ah. It's a gentle bow. We acknowledge each other. Namaste.